got him. We got him over here. We got him over here. That's what we're doing. AYR, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Oh
It's
my
my
good.
honor.
Oh well. Likewise, sir. Likewise.
Yeah.
Let me get this set up again here. Boom. We're back. There we go. We can see you. Everybody can see. You can see me. Everybody can hear
Yeah.
you. It's good times. AYR, what are you doing? Why are you off the grid?
That's just how I like to live, you know. I feel like with the news and everything, you get overwhelmed very easily.
Mm.
So I think that, the small things you have in your life, you could appreciate them more if you're not always thinking of things outside of your life. So I just try to like focus on my family, my friends, and like people close to me, and they'll tell me what's going on. So I'll get the news through them, but I don't search for that stuff. I let it enter my life. I don't enter it.
Ah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
That seems way more digestible for your mental health.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like full on like I'm just so far in it, and it's
Yeah.
sickening. It's sickening. It
It's tough.
consumes me.
It's tough.
So what made you start wanting to sort of back away from doom scrolling and just focusing on you? What was sort of the precipice that led you to that?
I think I was into it definitely during the pandemic when
Mm.
like my life kind of shut down. I got really into like the news and everything, and
Was
but during the same time, I started to neglect myself. So I was gaining weight, and I was not going to the gym as much. I was not going out as much. I mean, everyone wasn't really going out as much, but
right.
like I just noticed that I started to lose control of my own life
Mm.
because I was so fascinated with like things that are outside of my control. So I think that experience kind of took me to realize that that's not the way I wanted to live anymore. And I have a binging thing, so I like when I get into stuff, I like to like really get into it. So it's like it's 0 to 100 for me. It's like it's really hard for me to like mediate.
Yeah.
It's like no news or all the news.
Right. Right. Does that apply to other aspects in your life? You said you're gaining weight and stuff. So are you like one of
Yeah.
that type of person who will just eat everything, or I don't know. Did you ever have a problem with substances? What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to food, I love food.
Mm.
So even right now, I've started a weight loss journey for like a year now. So I've lost like 70 pounds.
Wow.
And yeah, it's been a long journey. But the crazy thing is I've been doing fasting, which is like the opposite. It's like when you don't eat anything
Mm.
for a few hours, and so that's the total opposite of what I used to do, which is just eat everything. So yeah, it's all or nothing with me. It's just
I feel that. I feel no. And you know what? The same thing, man. Because I moved back from California back to Ohio, four or 5 years ago. I don't even know now. And I was at a good weight because I've always had a weight issue. And
hmm
I went. You know how it is. You go to California. I don't know if you're from California, but like I went to
yeah,
California from the Midwest, and you know how it is in the lifestyle out there. Like people are all eating organic and eating,
yeah,
smoothies and intermittent fasting and
exactly,
all
yeah.
that stuff. And I managed my weight really well. And when I came back, I was really on it. But during the pandemic, all
hmm
those old habits sort of crept back in. And that's that. Now I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it all over
Yeah,
again. So I'm with you, man. I'm on a weight loss journey. I'm trying to work out, trying to do stuff.
yeah.
How do you control yourself when it comes to overeating and or just eating all the time? What's I mean, you mentioned intermittent fasting, but like you said, you're 0 to 100. So how do you sort of stop yourself and maintain like a healthy lifestyle?
I think the first stop is the grocery store. I think if I bring it to my house, it's really hard to not eat it. So luckily, I live with healthy people, but like if they buy pizza or it's very easy for me to get a slice. So I definitely feel like it's harder if you're around people that are not eating healthy because that's something I struggled with. And yeah, I would definitely say that I just chose to not go to certain aisles anymore
Mm.
because I feel like you just had to like get that temptation out or like replace it. So if I like candy, like now I'm like looking for like what sugar free options or chocolate. I try to get into like the more pure chocolate and not
Mm.
like milk chocolate. So it may not taste as good, but you get used to it. And then later on, you'll be like, you know what? I don't even want chocolate anymore because the
Right.
chocolate I'm eating is not that good.
Right, because sometimes you just need to scratch an itch, and if you can
Yeah.
figure something out that sort of replaces that, that's where I'm at too. Is that I'll binge on some sugar for
Yeah.
weeks sometimes, and it's so horrible because I don't know. My allergies are worse. I feel like pain in my joints and like
Yeah.
inflammation, and then just I gotta sort of like just stop with the sugar, and I'll eat a banana. Eat a banana.
Hmm.
You want sugar? Eat a banana. Or like you're saying,
Yeah.
eat cacao chocolate instead of Hershey's milk chocolate, which is, ugh. I mean, I don't even like Hershey's milk chocolate, but I will just eat it if it's there,
Exactly. Yeah.
You find yourself
No, I'm the
eating.
same way.
Well, I mean, and then you find yourself eating when you're not hungry. You find yourself
Hmm.
eating when, even like I said, like even if you don't like the
The
item,
food.
you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, you gotta get it right into my face here.
I
Uh,
also noticed that it's like the thing with me, like if I'm bored or if I'm like watching a show that's not that entertaining, I had a habit of eating to like keep me entertained.
yeah,
Like when I'm like, and I noticed that a lot of people do this. Like I was talking to my mom, she does the same thing. So it's like, yeah, like you gotta watch like the binge eating of just like trying to keep your brain entertained because like what
hmm,
you're doing is maybe not that interesting. So you just want to put something in your mouth,
right.
and it's tough,
Have you struggled with weight your entire life?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's been a up and down. I in high school I was in wrestling
Hmm.
and I was underweight, and my
Oh,
coach made me eat like a bunch of donuts so I could like weigh in at a higher weight class.
wow. And that started it, huh?
Yeah, I blame him.
It's all his fault. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean that'll do it. And I love
Hmm.
donuts. Like donuts are amazing. I'll just sit there eat a
Hmm.
dozen donuts. It doesn't even matter. Just yum yum yum. So how was what was your childhood like, man? Like what did you I mean you said that you started sort of overeating in high school for that, but
Hmm.
how was your upbringing? Was food a big part of your upbringing? Were they like? Because my mom would showed her love through like food, like here, eat more,
Hmm.
mijo, eat
Yeah.
more, So it's like,
Yeah.
but so was that sort of the same way, or how was that growing up?
Yeah. I was taught to like finish everything that you're
Mm,
given and not waste food. So like
yes,
it was seen as a bad thing if you didn't eat it. And
yes.
I never, and not to question it too, because it's like during that time, it was like we were there grateful to get anything, you
Ah,
know. Um, 'cause I didn't really grow up with money, so it was just like this is what we have today. Grateful, you eat it, you don't question it.
yeah.
And I always remember having a bit of a belly as a kid.
Hey
Yeah.
man, you know what? There's no shame in that game. I think that especially because I grew up poor, man.
Hmm.
I was blessed enough to have a family that worked really hard, so it was never like a thing about like not having food, but it was never like great food. It was always like cheap food, like ramen noodles or something like
Hmm.
that. So my relationship with food, and it sounds like your relationship with food was skewed, and being told not to waste your food,
Yeah.
that's a very like a low income mentality because you don't know
Exactly.
when
Yeah.
you got to be appreciative of what you got. So I understand that. So it like breaking those habits of childhood are very hard, man. It's a struggle.
Hmm. I think the first step is just recognizing them and
Yeah.
like understanding like where they're from and like why that mentality was used at that time.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, instead of wasting the food, I see it as like you're not respecting yourself by like eating when you're not hungry.
Hmm.
You gotta respect yourself over food.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. You are completely disrespecting yourself when you're full. You
Hmm.
know that you don't need that piece of cake. You know that you just do it anyways because who
Yeah.
cares? I think listening to what you just said, I picked up on just maybe did you find yourself having sort of a low self esteem growing up and I don't know. Did you struggle with mental health as a young man?
I think I'm kind of a paradox because I always had like very high confidence, but
Oh.
then I always like questioned my. Yeah, I think I had both.
Hmm.
It's weird. Like I've always wanted to do like great things. I think as a kid I was like, oh, I want to be super rich and like do whatever I want. And at the same time, I was like, but how am I going to do it? So
Yeah.
I think I've always been kind of realistic and kind of ambitious at the same time. So I definitely feel like my self esteem has it changes day
Hmm.
to day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel that. I can feel that. I mean, like when I listen to a song like "She's a Samurai," like that's kind of a dark song, man. So like,
Yeah.
and that's it's a great song, but like you can hear that it sounds like you're struggling with something going on.
Oh yeah.
Because am I wrong, or is that song touch on suicide?
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Mm.
Some people didn't pick up on it, but I also think that that song is kind of like a metaphor, so it could be interpreted different ways.
Mm.
Some people interpret it as just like a girl that's like making you feel very painful,
Yeah.
you know, metaphorically. Um, and even to me, sometimes when I listen to it, I'll think of it different ways. Like sometimes I'll listen to it, and I'll think of like a girl that's so powerful in your life that like she's like taking everything out of you, but like in a positive way.
Mm.
Because I've also heard that part of it where it's like that this girl just means so much to you. Um, but yeah, I definitely wrote that when I was going through probably a really dark time in my life, and I was worried how people would perceive it. Whether they would judge me for like being open about that. But I feel like just like with strength training, without resistance, you can't really show your strength. So I feel like being open about the pains and struggles I go through and getting through them is also allowing people to see that like I'm going through this stuff, and if I could get through it, that shows you that you might have that strength to get through it too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. That's I can totally appreciate when artists put their soul out there and put their talk about what they're going through, because it is sort of a sign to people. Is like, well, I mean, they're doing their thing. They're struggling too, because you can feel very lonely in those times when you're sad or depressed. You almost feel like you're the only person in the world that's ever going to feel this horrible.
Exactly. Yeah.
and, and
And I don't want people to feel that way because I
yeah,
know I felt that way. I was like, is there anyone who really feels this way?
yeah,
So, it's not something that most people put themselves out there that they're going through. So it's like if I'm one of the few people that do it, I want to be that person.
yeah.
Even if I don't necessarily get anything positive from doing that, at least if someone else can hear what I'm going through and they could like relate, they'll know that I went through the same thing. You know?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Those moments, man. I mean, I remember as a young man in my 20s, I was always using alcohol and drugs heavily,
Hmm.
to sort of cope with it. But there would be just weeks where I wouldn't get out of bed really. And I didn't really know what it was. I was just sort of like
Yeah.
binge watching shows on Netflix or something, not really understanding what's going on. And then once I finally quit drinking and drugging and started working on myself, I'm like, oh, I wasn't even like right, man. I was a really sick person who was sort of, really beating myself up, but not
Yeah.
understanding it. And
I was doing the same thing.
dude, it's hard out there, man. It's hard out there.
Yeah.
So you've had your moments with alcohol and illicit
Oh yeah.
substances. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think my problem, I had to cut those off completely because it's like I like them too much.
Because they're awesome. Not saying that people should go out and do it, but
Yeah.
yeah, those. So how long have you been sober?
Um, 3 months.
3 months. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're new to the game. Moving Dutchman, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping through. Um, yeah. So what made you like recognize the issue and want to stop?
I think for me, the biggest thing was physical. Like I would fast, and then I would fast like 7 days, and then I would binge drink 7 days, and I would just gain the weight back. That was a big drawback for me because it's like I don't like doing all this work just to lose it to like alcohol. And even though I really enjoyed going a week just like drinking, it's just like there's too many negatives. So I
Yeah.
feel like that was a big deal. And also, I recognize that it was just me trying to turn off my brain and not like wanting to go through life like fully aware. Like I kind of want to just like not forget what I'm going through
Mm.
and like just get through the days and just like mark off the calendar. But I also recognize that that's what kind of led me to that part, and I had to like at some point start doing what I need to do to get the life that I wanted, or like to live a happier life, you know. So it's definitely like an escape thing that's very enjoyable. Like it's fun to escape, but it's not something you want to do a
Yeah.
long time because then you're gonna wake up and then be full of regret of doing that.
Yeah. That's huge. I mean, and if you don't mind, how old are you?
27.
27. Okay, you're a young man, so
Oh yeah.
you're still working through it. I get it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I completely get it. I was doing the same thing, just sort of escaping, but I mean in a fun way, because like you go out with the friends, you go out with the boys, you're out trying to
Yeah.
meet potential partners or even
Mm-hmm.
temporary partners for the evening, just to sort of have fun in your life. But it after a while, it sort of turns into this sort of I don't know. It turns into sort of a thorn in your paw, and also drying out is horrible. Because especially after binging for days, because that's kind of
Yeah.
how it was too. I'd start on like Thursday night, and then and then have to go to work on Monday, and
Mm-hmm.
I would just be shaking at my desk, anxiety through the roof, just sweating, sitting at a cubicle,
Yeah.
and just fearing everything in life. And that would last for a whole week until it was time to do it all over again. And plus when you're drunk or drinking or drugging and stuff, you're like, you don't care what you're eating, you don't care what time of
Yeah. You
day
don't
it is.
care. Yeah.
You're like, Jack in a Box, let's go.
Yeah.
it's,
I
it's
was driving to restaurants like 1 a.m. Just give me everything.
yeah.
Triple cheese.
Yes, man. Yeah, you don't care. It's like, I'm gonna get me a carne asada burrito, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to In and Out, and then I'm gonna get a milkshake, and then shit's going down. Cause
Yeah, you
that,
just wake up with a bunch of empty bags
oh my
of
god,
food.
those days. I do not miss that, but I
Mm-hmm.
do understand. I mean, I do understand the idea of like social lubrication too. I don't
Yeah.
know. How are you? How has it been sort of in these last 3 months? Have you found that you're still okay to go out, or have you just sort of separated yourself from party life? Like, how have these last few months been when you're sober and you have looking through life with clear eyes?
I definitely feel like it helps to be focused on like a goal or something. Um, I do still go out, and it's just important that when you do go out, everyone else gets drinks, and you're ordering like the iced tea. Is to like I don't know, just try to have fun being the sober one
Yeah,
somehow, or
somehow.
it's not easy, but
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, when I got sober, that was when I started gigging like a lot, like full time, and that was the transition between working for someone else and then like gigging full time and just being a musician and a business owner. And so like having to get through all those those roadblocks of self-doubt or anxiety
mm-hmm.
or all that stuff, like it was really rough for me. But you seem like you seem like you might have a little bit easier time because you already sort of are okay with yourself with who you are, which I wasn't. You have a sort of confidence, and of course you're a good looking dude, so like that helps as well. So when you're at the bar and you're hanging out and do you feel anxious? Do you feel like you're out of place or uncomfortable in your own skin, or are you pretty comfortable just sort of chilling sober?
I think I am. I do have social anxiety just because I'm introverted, so I
Yeah.
don't usually like to like start conversations with people. But I am also very adaptable to social situations. So if I see someone I like, or I start talking to someone, I usually do open up pretty quickly
Hmm.
and get out of my shell. But I generally like to keep to myself most of the time. But I'm not like afraid to like open conversations.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I feel like I go both ways all the time. I'm just a paradox of two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of life, I guess. That's part of being
yeah,
human is it's complicated. it's
yeah,
there's layers to all this shit. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good though, man. I'm happy for you that you're finding solace and peace with it, with sobriety. It's a beautiful thing, and I feel like I operate at my best when I'm completely sober, because sometimes I'll smoke weed still,
hmm,
but I'll go for like a month or something, and then I'll stop, and and then but in that month, like I noticed the ambition and my want to get complete projects, or even go to the gym, sort of just goes right out the window. And then of course comes the munchies. Like I'm just sitting there,
hmm,
I'll eat the whole refrigerator out and be so happy about it. Like I'm just so
yeah,
happy to be eating so much food. Uh, but there is something to say about restraint and discipline, and in sort of and going through life in clear eyed and seeing it happen while it's happening, and not sort of this fog that you're seeing it through.
yeah.
Um,
I don't want to give the impression that like I'm like all hardcore with the discipline, because to me it's like every day's a struggle to like remember your goals, remember what you're doing. Because sometimes I'm like, why? Let me just today, but it always turns into like more than just today. So
yeah.
you just got to remind yourself of your past mistakes. I think your past kind of helps your future, because like that's what keeps me straight, is just knowing my habits and knowing that if I do it, I know what my month's gonna look like.
Dude, that's so huge. That is so huge. I think you hit it right on the head. It's like there's no foresight. Some people just don't have foresight of what the next day is. It's just like
Hmm.
it's beautiful to live in the moment, but also you do have to sort of think about what this means. It's like if I
Yeah,
go out tonight and I drink heavily and then I eat a bunch of food, it's like tomorrow I'm gonna feel terrible, and then
yeah.
that habit sort of starts, coming back.
It's a
And
domino effect. Yeah.
yeah, and then you're just like, well, you know what? I had fun the other night. Fuck it, I'm just gonna eat all these donuts tonight. It's like, and I'll
Hmm.
start tomorrow. But then you've already set that ball in motion, and
Yeah.
you're feeling like like it's interesting because food is one of those things that you need to survive. Unlike like drugs or alcohol, you don't need those things to
Yeah.
survive. So food is one of those things that you find people abusing a lot, and it does turn into a drug. It is like
Hmm.
it is something that is a dopamine drip, right? Like you're getting that drip off of just eating, carne asada fries at 3 in the morning.
Oh
Which,
yeah.
by the way, that
It's,
I just want to eat at 3 in the morning all the time. That's what
oh yeah.
but it's like I don't know, man. You sort of, after you've already abused food for so long, you have these pathways that are sort of carved into your brain. And then
Hmm.
and then once you step away from it, you can sort of train your body away from eating poorly. And like you said earlier, it's like you at one point you're just like, I don't even care about sugar. I don't want sugar. Like I'm just gonna eat my salad and have some water and watch TV or read a book or make music. You don't even think
Exactly.
about it anymore. But as soon as you give in,
Oh yeah.
and if you could just do it one day, that's fine. Like you were saying, like discipline doesn't mean I'm this rigid thing where you have to be this person forever
All
and
the
ever.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's exhausting, and you gotta have
Yeah.
fun.
It's unrealistic too.
It is unrealistic. So having a session where you're just like, I'm gonna have fun, tonight I'm going to eat anything I want. I don't care.
Hmm.
And then tomorrow we're right back on it. And I feel like for me, it's easy. It's easier for me to do that and get right back to it. But if I go one extra day, it's like it's over for me. So I don't know. Do you find that too? Like, do you feel like when you have your cheat days that if you have cheat, 2 days of cheating, do you find that it's harder to sort of get back on your routine?
Definitely, I feel like it's always hard to get back on a routine once you stop it.
Hmm.
Um, that's why I think for me, it's important that if I do cheat or if I do have a snack that I like, if I don't write it down, just try to like remember how I felt. And
Hmm.
a lot of times, like you'll have like what you're craving, like whether it's ice cream or a cake or something like that, or a drug, and then you'll think of the feeling that you're having, and it's usually not like satisfied. Usually, kind of disappointed. Um, so it's usually the opposite of what you think you would feel.
Right.
And I think it's important that people just recognize that and remember, like, don't forget that last time you did that, you didn't feel good for doing it. And
Yeah. It doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah, I've had so I haven't really drank a lot, but I have sort of allowed myself to have occasions, maybe once or twice a year, where I'll let myself. And that was after about 7 years of hardcore abstinence from alcohol and drugs, right? So it
hmm,
wasn't like, okay, I quit drinking, but I'll drink, sometime in a couple months. No, I went really cold turkey, and which was hard, which I guess is dangerous to do, is to quit drinking cold turkey, especially if you've
cold
been
turkey.
binging, because you can actually
Yeah,
die from that. But it, it was one of those things where I'm gonna have a good time tonight, and I'm with people. I'm in a safe environment. Plus, I'm like a sloppy, awful drunk. So once I start binging, I just get worse and worse and worse. How are you drinking? Like, what kind of drunk are you? Are you like angry? Are you happy-go-lucky? Are you, I don't know, flirty? How are you when you're in that state?
I think I'm really kind of like a chill drunk. Usually, I get really mellow and just I like to just sit there and chill out. I don't really get really energetic or anything like that. And I
Mm.
just really enjoy. It's really relaxing to me, which is the dangerous part, and that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because like to me, it just like makes everything kind of feel just vibey.
Mm.
You're just chilling. Um, yeah. So, but I do think that moderation is key, and knowing
Yeah.
that it's not all bad. I'm not like here saying don't do drugs because it's like I probably will do drugs in the future. I'm just saying like you got to recognize your control over it, and not
Mm.
its control over you,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is the hard part.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and then I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've seen lots of friends. Especially coming back to Ohio, the Midwest got hit really hard with the whole opiate crisis. So I saw a lot
Hmm.
of people, a lot of people that I knew from high school, and they weren't really friends, but they just kept partying and they just never stopped. And they're like, some of them are dead, some of them are still sort of
Hmm.
just strung out, living in their mom's basement. It's like, I don't know. Have you seen friends sort of go too far and not come back? Have you been in that position yet?
I It's different with me because I have a very small friends list
Mm-hmm.
or small inner circle that I keep just because I feel like um, I have like I want to do the most of the people in my life, so I had to keep it small because I
Yeah.
can't dedicate that much of me to like every single person. So most of my friends that I used to know, I don't really keep in touch with anymore.
Mm.
But I definitely feel like I know like there's people in my family who have this saying of constantly doing what they feel like doing every day and not necessarily what's best for them.
Mm.
And that's hard to get people to stop doing because it's there's you always know like what you want to do. Like, you want to go have fun, you want to do drugs, you want to party all the time. It's hard to like get out of that mentality if it's not like instilled in you to have that discipline or to have the foresight or um, I feel like when there are some people that are just unlucky in that the way that they view life as like a roller coaster of fun and not like a journey where you're supposed to take breaks and like focus on other stuff, do hard stuff every once in a while, get focused every once in a while. Like I do feel like some people think it's just all about having fun all the time, and it's really not. Like that's something you want to save for days you deserve it, or like days where you at the end of the week or something. Like you don't want to spend all your time just in pleasure.
Yeah. 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 And that goes back to having some form of discipline. There's enlightenment comes with discipline, right? Like you find out who you are, especially when you find yourself able to sort of stick to a routine and stick to a good meal plan and a gym routine, and you're getting stuff done and you allot enough time for your creative stuff. Like there's so many, especially artists who are like who depend on drugs. And it doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be like, like Charlie Parker, who was like on heroin, who thought heroin was like, this is what makes me a genius. Is like, no, it doesn't. And actually, you died very young, and that sucked because Charlie
Yeah.
Parker was a genius. But it could be just weed, right? Like it could just be someone who's like, I gotta get high before I can create. That's the only way I can do it, and becoming dependent on that to access your creativity. Yeah, I think like weed has its place, for
Yeah.
creativity, and I'll use weed as a way because I mix and master music and write music for people as well. So I if I'm stuck on a song for days and I just after a while you get ear fatigue and you're just like ugh. For me, using marijuana is a good way of sort of gaining a different perspective. So using drugs as more of a tool than it is as
A necessity.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and I don't anybody who feels like they have to be fucked up to create, you're just sort of you're painting yourself into a corner, and it's not really a great way to do it. You depend on
Yeah.
Coca-Cola Zero for weird dreams movie. Coca-Cola Zero gives you weird dreams. It must be the aspartame, man. Uh, but but like you're a young dude, and I think it's really awesome that you're able to sort of step back and see where you're at and how how you interact with these different substances or food or exercise. Like I didn't have that perspective as a young man. So like I always appreciate seeing this next generation and being able to express themselves and being able to understand, how they interact with the world and how different things interact with them. And because I didn't have that perspective, I was just sort of flying through life through my 20s.
Blindly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just running through running in the dark with my eyes closed, like, yeah, I'm going to get there. And it's like, none of my goals, I could ever attain my goals in my 20s. And it wasn't until I actually stopped drinking so much, and I stopped drinking, period, that I was able to achieve goals that I've wanted since I was a young person, where
Mm-hmm.
like working for myself and being a full-time musician and being able to support my family with that. And that was a huge thing for me. So it was all about me, just like, instead of dedicating so much time to drinking and recovering from drinking, because it's not just drinking, it's also recovering.
Yeah. The time after. Yeah.
You find I found a lot of my goals were very attainable, and it was very possible for me to do really cool things. And it's just, I think you hit on the head. It's like, you're not saying like, hey, stay abstinent, stay perfect and pure, because you're gonna young people are going to experience and want to
Oh yeah.
experience different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding that, you know
Balance, really.
exactly, finding balance. Man, balance, I have never been able to find balance, true
Me either.
balance. But a
I don't either.
facsimile thereof, something,
It's a goal.
yeah, well, and something that resembles balance, right? Something that
Mm-hmm.
where you're able to, at least get a grip on what you're doing, because man, things can spin out of control really quick, really
I
quick.
think it's important for me to imagine myself as something, and whether or not I am actually it. Like if you believe that you're in control of your life, if you believe that you could do stuff without drugs, even if it's true or not, that mentality, eventually you're going to start to align yourself with that.
Mm.
So a lot of these things I'll say whether or not I'm like that person yet, but I want to be that person. So I'll have quotes in my head, or I'll have a way of life I want to live, and I'll just put that out there, and I'll continue to strive for that, and recognize that I'm, even if that's not who I am right now, it's who I want to be. And I think if more people would see life like that, like you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be someone who um, who's been drug free for like years. Like if you're like constantly falling off the bandwagon, that's fine. Just keep telling yourself that you are going to get through it. Just keep telling yourself that you are someone who's not succumbing to drugs, and that you are more powerful for it, and you are in control. You know, like tell yourself what you want to be,
Mm.
and eventually you're going to start to think that way, and eventually you will be that. So I think that's what works for me is, you know, believing something, even if you can't see, even if you're not there yet, just continue to believe it,
Mm.
you know, and manifest it really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had to do that as well because I had such a low opinion of myself, especially after drinking and drugging for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
finally, stepping away from that. Um, I found out that I really did not like who I was as a person. I didn't like me. I hated I hated myself so much, and I was so angry with myself
Neither
and
did other people.
yeah, well, it's a it's a hard thing. So you have to like
Yeah,
literally, as stupid as it sounds, is like look in a mirror. Like I would
yeah,
look into a mirror and be like, I love you. I love you.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
love you. And do that over and over. And I had to learn to meditate and use different mantras that included loving myself and it took a long time. And now, I'm 10 years into this journey of like, self-actualization. And and now I don't hate myself. Now I kind of like me, kind of.
exactly.
I'm not
Yeah,
there all the way, but I do like
you can
what,
trick yourself. Exactly.
exactly. And so, like, I think that touches on what you're saying about, like I'm not an alcoholic, or I am not a drug addict. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying my best to not be that. And sometimes I slip, but that's okay because I'm human, and
Exactly.
humans are fallible, and this is just my journey. Now that can also go too far in one direction, where it's like you're an alcoholic who's like, I'm not an alcoholic. Fuck yeah, you don't know me, like, so that could
It's all
also,
about balance.
it's all about balance, and making those efforts and those steps to at least try to be something better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
no, there's no sub goal, Moving Dutchman, but yeah, Town is this Friday. Oh, don't be upset, Moving Dutchman. It's okay. It's okay. Uh, so when did you start sort of finding that you were interested in music and making music?
Yeah, I feel like music kind of just came out of me. I've always been kind of creative, so I was drawing, I was doing artsy stuff, I was making YouTube videos, playing video games, trying to be like PewDiePie, um, and like music video compilations of my favorite cartoons, or just throwing music in the background. So I think I've always wanted to create stuff. So it's hard to say, really. I think when I started singing, that's only been a year.
Oh,
But
really?
like, before that, I was into rap for like maybe like 7 years now,
Okay.
and I just didn't know I could sing. So I feel like, but also I think last year during COVID, I got into composing too. So I started doing a lot of instrumental type stuff. So I feel like music to me is very dynamic. I'm a very open mind when it comes to music. I listen to all genres, and it's definitely like, I was just thinking, like, to me, like, music is like medication.
Hmm.
It's something that no matter what you're going through, there's gonna be some music you want to listen to at that particular time, whether you're angry or you're sad or you're going through a heartbreak or you're going through joy. There's like music for like everything, and I feel like it's one of those things that's, it's so beautiful that you have so much music in the world now that you can just like appreciate, and it definitely helped me, especially like when I was going through stuff throughout my whole life. Music has been like a core part of my happiness is what I like to do.
Hmm. Yeah. What kind of music do you find yourself going back to?
Right now, I listen to some oldies, really soft, kind of like soft pop
Hmm.
type oldies. Um, Eddie Gourmet, I've been listening to a lot. 50s, 60s. Trying to remember. I'm really bad with names, so
Me too. Me too. It's like I know who Michael Jackson is. I know who Frank
yeah,
Sinatra is. I know who Elvis
yeah,
is.
exactly. No, I say those all the time, but I don't want to keep saying them because the I sound like you don't have a wide variety of other
Mm,
artists.
mm,
But it's just like those names are the only ones that are like stuck in my brain. But I do listen to like other artists probably more so than those guys. It's just there's like hundreds of other artists.
yeah.
I might only listen to like a few songs of each one, so it's like it's hard for me to remember each name. But yeah, I'm all over the place.
That's okay, man. That's the it's I think that's makes a good artist is having a wide appreciation of music and art. Is if you just like hip hop all the time, I mean, and if you're a rapper, that's fine. But I think
Hmm.
more and more you see these like the rappers, who are just like, oh man, I love country music, I love classical music, I love all this different kind of music. And man, who is it? Is it Lil Yachty? I don't know. I think he came out with an album that was so cool. His last album, it was just it was so not hip hop, but it was definitely him. It was definitely hip hop, but it was just he took it to a different level, which I always
Yeah,
appreciate. And like even people like Childish Gambino, who went from like straight rap hip hop to what's the name of that album that had Redbone on it?
Redbone.
Yeah, which was his love letter to Parliament, George Clinton and stuff. And Moving Judgment, thank you so much for gifting Naders a sub, and thank you so much for that $10 dono for Willitown. I appreciate that, you guys. Willitown is coming up this weekend. Me and Rainer are going to be down there. We're going to be playing the music festival with Glowstick Willie. We're going to be streaming. Moving Dutchman, how dare you keep subbing? How dare you, sir? I appreciate you. Moving Dutchman, let's give Moving Dutchman. We're gonna pause for the cause real quick. Eric, just give me 1 second. I gotta give some love to Moving Dutchman, who's over here just dropping bombs on us. So hold on. Did you ever stream on Twitch or YouTube?
I know.
No? But oh, Robbie, what's up, buddy? Charlie. Oh, Moving Dutchman is going off. Hold on. Give me.
It's popping right now.
It's going off right now. We got, and then we gotta talk about this new album you got going on here too. What happened? Why did that not work? Why is everything suck right now? Why? Robbie, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. Okay, well, I guess things don't work now. Sorry, guys. I suck at all this stuff now. Dude, what's the name? How do you say the name of your new album? Is it Jenna? Like, how do you say that?
Um, it's funny because I wasn't thinking of that when I wrote it. I was just like, oh, it looks cool. Put an X there, but yeah, I guess you could say Jenna or Gen X now. Like I just thought it looked cool.
Oh, okay, sweet. So like, well, that works. So then
Yeah,
when people ask you what the name of your album is, do you just say Gen X?
yeah, dude. I change it every time to keep everyone confused.
Keep them guessing, baby.
Uh,
That's a solid marketing plan, bro. I love it. I love it. Oh, hold on. Let me see what's going on with these stupid things. Man, I was playing your album at work the other day, and the ladies were loving it. The ladies were.
oh, it's
I think you
so
were.
cool.
And I showed them a picture of you, and they're like, "Oh yeah." I was definitely put you out there. Um, Hold on, let me. Oh, I see it. I know it's wrong, Robbie. I know it's wrong. Cloudbot wasn't on. Stupid Streamlabs. You were such a garbage program. I don't know what Nightbot is doing. Okay, here we go. We got love for MD here. Here we go.
Hello, Moving Dutchman. This is Gandalf. Thank you for all that you do for this channel, and always remember, a Moving Dutchman is never late, nor early, but arrives precisely when he means to.
Moving Dutchman, you're a doll. I love you, buddy. I hope you're doing well out there in Deutschland. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And Robbie, love you too, buddy. And Samo, thank you for shouting out Samo. Very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. So tell me what when you went in to write this album, your latest album, Gen X or Jenna or whatever you want to call it. And let me drop it in the chat, y'all, because you guys need to go out there and support your boy over here. He's doing
Appreciate
things.
that.
Of course. Wait a second. Wait a second. I'm going to share the... How dare you? All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share this in the chat here. Boom. All right, guys. Go check it out. And then I need to get your Instagram too. We'll drop your Instagram. And if you guys are listening to this on the audio side, please make sure you go into the show notes and click on these links that I'm going to be dropping in there. So and support your boy AYR Majesty. There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. We gotta get to the crux of the cracker here, sir. We gotta. This is what we're doing. So when you're going in to write your latest album, was there like an overarching theme when you approached it, or were you just sort of writing one-off songs, and like what was your mindset going into this last album?
So actually, this last album was really my appreciation album, because I tried to do an appreciation album the first time called Zena, and I released that in March, and that was like a dedication to a crush that I have on Jenna Ortega. So that's why it's called Jenna. And so I made like a bunch of songs. I made like a Wednesday song, Ghostface song, some symphonies, and I was really just trying to like make songs that kind of had some theme around her. And I realized that all the songs I made were kind of sad, because I was like drinking and just going through the most. So then I was like, I don't want to like dedicate a sad album of me just in my field the whole time. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make another album, and this one I'm going to try to be happier, and that's what the idea was for Gen X now. And all those songs were like, I tried to do some R&B, because apparently that's like her favorite genre. And even though I don't listen to R&B, I was like, okay, let me try something. So it was all me trying to do a genre that's new to me. I'm still new at singing, so it was all just like, how do I write for this? And I'm still learning. I feel like definitely when you listen to my album, you're going to hear someone who is taking music in a different approach than most people. It's very unorthodox, and I feel like that's what excites me, is like going into a new territory, not knowing exactly how I'm gonna pave the way. And I hope that when people listen to it, they hear that I do have a lot of love that I wanted to share. And I think that's the most important thing, is being able to like share yourself, share your experience, share your emotions in like a positive way, and not like just keep them bottled. Because I think that was what was bothering me, is like having these emotions that I couldn't express, and just feeling like maybe it wasn't important. Like, it's important to me, you know. So I just didn't like that feeling of like feeling like my emotions didn't matter. So I wanted to find an outlet for that, and I think that's what this album was for me.
Gotcha. And I had to see who Jenna Ortega was, and I was like, "Who is Jenna Ortega?" Oh, and I see. Is she an actress? Yeah. She's an actress, right?
Oh yeah. She was in the Wednesday show, and she's in the Scream movies.
Oh, and the new ones, right?
Yeah, she's new. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, she is definitely a cutie.
yeah.
Cutie patootie. Oh, look at this goth girl. Let's go. Let's go. She was in the new. Yeah, thank you. We said, whoa. What is the what is the deal with all the what is the deal with everybody in blood and the devil and like Doja Cat? Have you been
I
following?
know these artists, man. What's going on?
I don't know. Are you a religious person at all?
I wasn't until this year. I think I got really religious this year
That's
just
okay.
because
That's okay.
it helped.
My
Yeah.
wife just found Jesus like
Hmm.
like late last year, and so it's yeah, that Naders, you know where I'm going with this. No, there's this like it just seems like there's this weird thing where like devilish, and I'm gonna follow Jenna Ortega because she's hot. Where there's like this sort of this Satanist aspect to music,
Theme. Yeah.
and even with especially with Doja Cat, which Doja Cat was the weird one because Doja Cat at one point was like, I'm gonna stop playing music, and then all of a sudden she was just like, oh, now I'm gonna just worship the devil or something. And here's that bra. Here's that bra. This is
Oh my
this
gosh.
dude hit somebody over the head with a chair.
my
It was incredible.
Only in America.
America, baby. It's how-
America.
yeah, Bohemian Grove. Yeah. So, there's a lot of people talking about how these artists are sort of selling their souls to the devil or
I thought about it.
yeah. What's your take on it?
I mean, I was an atheist during the pandemic. I got really into watching religious debates, and I was so convinced that there wasn't a God. I was listening to like some of the biggest smart IQ atheist people, and I was just like, "Yeah, you're so right." And I was really convinced that it was all, just words some people wrote. You could explain all of it, or there's more logic against it, or whatever. But I think this year I've been more open-minded about it, and I really found that for me religion it is a belief. It is a belief in something outside yourself that's bigger than yourself, and something that doesn't need to be explained. So I think for me it turned into having that belief allowed me to get outside of myself and find peace with where I'm at in the world, and not be so focused on my current trauma, because I think that's what was bothering me. It's like I was drinking a lot, and I was like going through the whole depression, and I was singing Samurai, and I was thinking about suicide and stuff like that, and I was just like, I need something to like get me out of this. And I think for me it was religion, because like when you're going through your darkest time, you feel like you don't have control of your life. That's when you look to like something else. And I definitely feel like I've been shown signs since then, and I feel more enlightened since then. I feel better. I think of life in a more positive light, and that's what religion is to me. It's just like that path that you're going to take into being that better person.
Yeah.
But it is complicated.
Yeah, obviously, I understand that, man. It's a hard thing, and I'm sort of, I don't know if I've ever been a full on atheist. I grew up Catholic, and and
Me too.
yeah, okay, Catholic, let's go. I've done all the things, I'm married, and the next step is death. Like I was baptized, confirmed, first communion, marriage, and then and now it's death. But it's I was already as a young man. Well, as a young man, I took a lot of LSD, and that sort of really pushed me away from religion. And I viewed religion as sort of this terrible thing that traps people. It's about control, which an aspect of it is that, right? Like there has been people who've taken advantage of people's faith in order to gain money, power, control. So that is a part of it, which that's the part that I despise and still despise. And Sorry, I was reading a comment and it's ridiculous. But it was that, but as I got older, my vitriol and this, and hatred towards religion sort of started to dissipate because, at this point in my life, I don't care what people believe in. It's just be good to people, like be good to others. And even if people want to worship the devil, that's fine. I don't really care. But it's like, as long as it's not like,
I
hey,
thought about it.
as long as you're not hurting people or like sacrificing animals, like, because I like animals and stuff, but it's a very odd time now where like, so here, like the Sam Smith and Demi Lovato, Lil Nas X is getting banged by the devil. It's such an odd time where people are sort of going so far into this satanic thing. I don't know why do you think these artists are sort of are going so far into it?
I think it's a response to how fervent the Christian movement was and how strong the whole Catholic thing, how repressed they kind of made the country. And I think this is just like a reflection of that. It's like people who don't like that forced nature of it. People don't like to be forced to do anything. So this is just like kind of like a rebellion kind of thing. And not to say that it's good or bad. I feel like it's just a response to, if you're constantly told, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, there's different ways to approach it. And I think some people are going to be like, I'm going to do the total opposite because I don't like you telling me what to do.
A form of rebellion, right? Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's probably what it is that.
But I would also say that for me, one reason why I got really into of Satan is the angel of music. And apparently, like when he was in heaven, he was like the angel that was really the best at making music, and he felt underappreciated. He felt that his talents weren't being looked at or sought after, and his ego kind of got the best of him. But for a moment, I was feeling a lot of sympathy for that, and I just felt like I kind of felt how he felt, and I actually even made a song called "Feeling Devilish." And it was during that period where it's like I really felt like I had devil wings behind me because I thought God was mad at me, metaphorically. I felt like, why is this happening to me? Why is my life like this? Maybe I should just be, go on the bad side. That seems more fun. Like, or if I'm already being condemned to like live this kind of life, why don't I just go full on Darth Vader? So I understand the temptation to do that. But then I found that going through that and be able to come on the other side, understanding that life is hard and you are going to be beaten down by life. You're going to be made fun of. You're going to be humiliated. And you do need to choose how you respond in that. And you could respond in a nasty way, in a vindictive way, or you could respond by being a bigger man and giving love even if you don't get love. And I feel like for me, that's where I'm at now. It's like I've been through that phase of wanting to get revenge and wanting to, the world to feel the pain I feel. But I kind of grew out of that, and now it's like I'll take the pain and I'll give love. And I think that's where my religion kind of is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think making your religion based around love. I think that's probably the best way to go. I mean, if you're doing that, and like I was saying, my wife has gone like full into Christianity, but I sort of stepped away from all that. But I am, I'm open to this idea of God, but I don't know if God even gives a shit about anybody because I don't know, like the idea of presuming what a creator of such a insanely complex universe and the idea that there's multiple universes that coincide parallel. It's like the idea that this one entity cares so much about these weird little monkey parasites that sort of grew out of the water. And to presume that he is, or it is,
Yeah.
is sending prophets and shit. Like, to me, that just seems a little bit much, but I am open to
Fantasy,
the
yeah.
idea of like intelligent design, because at some point in science, like, it's just, it's magic, right? Like, you
Yeah.
just have to sort of give into this idea that magic, the Big Bang, magic, and everything that sort of comes in, because you can be very science based, but at some point you have to sort of let go of that idea that everything is provable when you have like atoms that go in and out of existence, and you have
Quantum. Yeah.
quantum mechanics. When you look at quantum mechanics and string
Everything
theory,
falls apart. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there is room for intelligent design. It's just, for me, I don't see it. I don't see it as something that necessarily gives a shit about us. But I do think that whatever created all this created love and hate, and so, like, it's sort of all a package deal. It's a gray area, and sort of like however you decide to put your energy in, and is what you're going to sort of get back into it, get back in the world. So it's a weird way to look at things.
I wouldn't say that I align myself with like any one religion, because I feel like religion's too stagnant. I feel like the truth is in a gray area, just like life. Like, you're never gonna have all the answers. But I
Right.
think it's kind of designed that way. Like, you're not supposed to have that. Anyone who's like sitting there like full blown, this is what happened. Moses talked to bushes. Like, you don't know that. You could be open minded to that, and you could believe that, but it's not like a fact. It's always gonna be a belief, and that's fine. But for me, yes, I'm very open minded to religion.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's not like I hate any of them, but like Naders was saying in the chat here, is like more people have died from Christianity than Hitler ever, ever.
Oh yeah.
So many things have been, so many atrocities have been committed in the name of God. Whether it's Christians or Muslims or Israeli folks, of the Jewish religion, they've all done horrible things. And
I think that's what comes from the lack of balance.
yeah,
Is because like those people are like the highest fervent, the most religious. When you get to that extremities of stuff, that's when bad things happen.
yeah,
I think that's the problem. Is like you have to stay in like the balanced gray area of understanding that you're never gonna know 100% anything.
yeah.
Like, you could believe in Jesus, but like don't like be so into the religion that you start doing stuff outside of who you are.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with a lot of this religious, like, kind of cult like stuff. It's like they took it too far.
It did. It always goes too far. Like, humans, that's
It's
just what
humans,
we
yeah.
do. That's just what we do. It's just like, well, just no. God told me that I have to go out and kill me some fill in the blank. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
it gets wild, man. Like, I remember, I'm old enough to remember this, but I remember that George W. Bush. I remember him saying that God told him to, start wars and shit. Like, and I'm just like, I was in my 20s, and I'm just like, this
That don't
dude
sound like God.
is fucking crazy. Like, this is a crazy person we have who is running this country. Like, this is the fucking crazy zealot that is making everybody like, who are sending young men to die.
I feel like that's the norm, though.
What'd you say?
I think that's the norm, though.
Well, I think we're getting away from it when, like with, I think Trump really put a big stamp in the middle of that, because people stopped caring about the God thing, right? Because Trump like doesn't really talk about God, and I'm not a fan of Trump at all. But but like, I do recognize that he sort of did stamp that idea out. Because even Barack Obama was like, oh, yeah, I go to church, and here's my church. And then
doing the whole thing. Yeah.
he got in trouble because his pastor was part of was it the Weather Underground? They call him a terrorist because they were a terrorist. I can't remember what that was. Oh, no. It was it was a church. I can't remember, but who cares? In any case, religion has been such a big part of American society, all the way down to its politics. And I think people are sort of, we just have such
Tired of it.
Yeah, they're just like, listen, I don't care. just fucking, I don't want to pay $10 for 12 eggs, you know, like
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $50 a gallon of gas. I just, you know, like I don't care what God that you believe exists. I just need you to chill the fuck out and make things easier for me, because that's what we voted you in for.
Yeah.
Religion is not God. No, but religion is the service of God. And when you start putting when you start having people doing things in service of God, or because they believe that God has told them to do stuff, I think that's where the problem is, because I don't think you can think about religion and not think about God too, right? I mean, the two kind of go together very, very solidly. So I get what you're saying, Raina, but I'm just like, ugh. I think that's what turns people off, is the religious aspect, and the people who sort of molest these ideas and turn it into their reason to hate, you know, fill in the blanks, you know.
The infrastructure of it.
Yeah, I hate the gays because God told me
Yeah,
to. You know, it's
exactly.
like, come on.
No, that's the problem. It's like the people aspect of religion is what people have done with it. Yeah, but I feel like it would have been better if people just leave people to find religion on their own free will, instead of trying to like force people to like live the way you want them to live. I think that's always been the problem, is that we've always been trying to enslave people to our beliefs, our ways of life, and not appreciating people's own, you know, choices. And we still do that with our kids. You know, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a dentist, you're going to do this. Like, I think people need to learn to like live your truth, let them live their truth, and stop interfering so much.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the chat is sort of lighting up on this. We started talking about religion and they started getting into it.
Oh yeah.
Naders was saying you could be a Catholic priest and touch kids, or be Muslim and have multiple wives. I'll take what's behind door number 2, thanks. To my explanation of religion and God, Raina was saying that's like blaming all nonprofits for theft of the corrupt one. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but you could see how it puts a bad taste in your mouth, right, Raina? That's like blaming me for slavery in the 18th century. Or blaming all German people for the Holocaust, right?
Yeah, it's not. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't blame people for like something someone else did. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you know. He said, "Don't go there." Oh no, but it's yeah, and we're seeing that now. You know, like people are basing their opinion on people due to the history of the atrocities that were committed throughout history, and it's like, man, it's really hard to say that all white people are this, or they're all racist just because they are white, because of stuff that, you know, that other white people did back in the day. I mean, if we want to do that, then we can also say, let's just blame all black people for enslaving, you know, like, because in Africa, they were enslaving other Africans and other tribes, you know, so not all black people are racist because they enslaved other black people. I
think the problem is like the preconceived notion of racism is like instilled in a lot of people's communities, and then they go about life already thinking that they're going to receive racism. Because I used to think this way too. I used to just go to like a nice establishment and think they're going to be racist just because I'm black, and it's like nothing happened yet. It's just like I believe that, and I was like afraid of that, and I feel like a lot of people in those communities need to embrace love and not fear, and like put yourself in those positions, give other people a chance. And even when you confront racism, if you match it with love, you usually get a better result. One of my teachers actually said that she was racist before she met me. I thought that was the weirdest thing to tell like a third grader. But this is exactly my point, though. It's like racism is not like gonna destroy you. I think it's just something. It's born out of ignorance. It's born out of hate, and you could defeat all that with your heart, with showing who you are, and intelligence. And I think that that's the way forward, and we need to heal. I would like a future where racism is not like a thing. Like, we're not talking about skin color, we're not casting people based on what they look like. I want like a future where it's like race is secondary to character. It's secondary to everything else. You know, I think today is so much I'm this, I see myself as this. There's so many labels, and I feel like that's still a problem. You know, like you shouldn't label yourself as a color. You know, you're more than that.
Yeah, you're not just that. That's not the whole of your character. And I do believe a very smart man said that, right? Who said to like not judge people on the color of skin, but on the content of their character. Smart dude, really smart guy. Fucking, and wow, would you believe it? The FBI killed him. So, so you got that. But no, and you like, I think when people hear people talking in this aspect, because like right now having this conversation to some people would be considered like this, you know, white supremacy or whatever. And, you know, it's like they accuse people of like, there's no such things as racism or like, you know, and like, I don't think that's what we're even talking about, because we know that there's racist people out there.
Oh yeah.
I was a Mexican at a really white school, at a Catholic school, and I was being called, and I was being called terrible things on the playground. And so like people who have had these issues, and I know you've dealt with some form of racism in your life, right? So
I got in fights, and I didn't even know. Like, I was like, why is he calling me that word? And I had to ask like my parents, like, what does this word mean?
Yeah.
And the N word, like I didn't know.
Right.
I just knew that he was being mean. So I fought this guy in Catholic school when I was a kid. But yeah, like it's always been there.
Yeah, it exists because there's stupid people out there. There's dipshits who are gonna be saying dumb shit. So like having these conversations isn't denying that, or denying people's past trauma who've dealt with that, or even denying that, you know, that sometimes fucking black kids get shot in the back by some overzealous white cop. Like that's not, you know, like this shit does happen. But putting it all on every white person or every black person, because, you know, there are white people who have had a bad experience with a black person. Now I hate all black people. It's like, no. It's like everybody is an individual making their own way through life. And to say that, to apply these terrible, just awful labels to people because one reason or another, it's unproductive and it's divisive, and you see how our media sort of perpetuates it. Even our politicians, our leaders, it's a good,
they use it.
It's a good way to distract from terrible policy, and it's a good way to distract from failures of our government, and it's a great way to keep people infighting. So we don't come together and fight against the real oppression, which is for me, it looks like it's sort of a class issue, right? It's like there's elite people who have a lot of money who benefit greatly off of people who are busy fighting with themselves and not paying attention to, you know, the toxic waste they're dumping in their water source, or not paying any taxes, then all their money's offshore, and like nothing goes back into into the country that their business is from, or policies that don't make sense for any reason, or there's somebody's laptop, the president's son who's being indicted, or, you know, or Trump's indictment. There's all these different distractions that are sort of keeping people on this, like, redlining people, right? Like people are just like in the red all the time, and you bigot, you know, like they're just ready to tear your head off. And that's it's very convenient for people in power.
Well, I think that the bright side is that if you look out today, we are living in a world where we have made a lot of progress. And I think it's important that you remember that, and people are grateful that we're not in that 1950s. We're not in the 1920s. We're not slaves on a boat. Like, I think you had to appreciate where we are now. And even though it's not perfect, we have to keep imagining the world we want to live in and perpetuate that, manifest that. In the world that I want to live in, those labels don't apply to me anymore. I'm a person. So that's where I choose to live my life. And I think there are a lot of people that don't want that. Like, they want to keep their identity as like foremost, and they always lead with that, and they always, put their projects first in mind and say, this is, or maybe they'll say stuff like Black owned business. Like, I've seen that. And I feel like, to me, that's just like the other side of the coin. Like, there's a balance, and you go too fervent in that direction too, you're going to end up with the same problem.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what people don't realize. It's like a lot of the problem kind of feeds itself. If you think that way, if you constantly think in terms of color, you're going to perpetuate the problem that you're afraid of.
Yeah.
It's like a snake eating its tail or something like that. I don't know, something smart.
Something smart. Look, we need to we gotta watch this video because this is where it's at right now, baby. Oh gosh darn it. And everybody, make sure that you guys are going and checking out AYR's music, because it's a good time. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. Make sure you're clicking on those links. The new album, Jenna or Gen X or however you want to say it,
Whatever you want to say,
is out right now. So make sure that you are out there doing that and getting big at it. Does your wife know that too? Oh, you're talking to somebody else. Okay. Let's watch some of this fight because you haven't seen it yet. So I'm going to share the screen with you. And then we should play a song. We should play a song off of the album. But let's see. If you don't mind.
That's fine, yeah.
All right, let's go. We'll watch some of this video because we were watching a little bit of this video earlier. So I think I got it in slow motion. So okay. So if you don't know what happened, especially we're here talking about race and stuff.
No, I don't know anything.
So this guy right here, he's like a security guard, and he's trying to tell these white folks here, is like, hey, you got to move your pontoon because we got a boat that needs to park here, and these dudes don't want to move their boat, and chaos ensues. So we'll kind of go through it a little bit. We'll skip through, so we're not going to watch the whole thing over again, but it's pretty awesome. Hold on, let me make this a little bigger for everybody. There we go. Boom. Bigger. There we go. That's better. All right, so we'll watch a little bit of this. So this dude came out of nowhere. This is the security guard. Hold on. Before this, we were watching a video earlier, but before this happened, there was the security guards just having a conversation that gets a little heated, and this dude just comes out of nowhere and just punches the security guard, and then chaos ensues. So dude's like throws his hat, like, okay, we're doing this. It's punching, we're hitting. But then you have his boys come in, and then this guy in the background runs and sees this. And I mean, this is just turned into an all-out, like, it's unfair. All his boys are here beating up this guy. This random dude comes up and was like, hey, chill out. And he's just trying to bring the peace, but that ain't happening. And then this dude jumps in the water down here. This guy right here jumps in, which everybody is affectionately calling him Aquaman or Black Aquaman, which is amazing. So here he comes. This young man just jumps in and is like, nah, this is fucked up. I gotta help this dude, which I think is admirable because this dude was just trying to do his job. Now, I don't know if race plays a part in this. I don't know if these white dudes were racist. They're in the South. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't want to say assume it's this racist thing, but race does play a part in this because, all these white dudes are beating up this black dude, and then other black people are watching this, and they're like, wait, what's going on here? What's going on? Yeah. So I to me, race does play a part in it, as in that it was an unfair advantage, and other black people were not having it, which fair enough. It's like they're
I mean,
just
honestly, I saw a fight one time in LA, and three guys were beating up this one guy, and I was about to get into it because, like, for me, it's like when I see someone getting ganged up on like that, like so unfairly, it really pisses me off. So like, I have the urge to like help people if they're like getting like ganged up on there too. So
right.
like, yeah, I hate to see that when people just taking advantage of like some dude on the ground and just start kicking him. When it's like 4 against 1, it's like,
Yeah. It doesn't even matter the race at that point. It's like human compassion. It's like this person is getting murdered by a bunch of people. Like literally
doing his job.
Yeah, and he was just doing his job. And by the way, the dudes who are beating up the security guard, they were parking their pontoon in the wrong place. Like they literally were just like, we're just gonna park here. Dude told them nah, and they were just like, oh, okay, we're gonna fight you because of that. So these dudes are in the wrong attacking the security guard. Yeah, exactly. Dipshits who are just trying to do his thing. Okay, we'll look at those links in a second, Rita. So here. Get up there, young buck. So just random black people start crewing up and they are ready for action. They are not playing.
Yeah.
And here's some different angles. Look, they're just it just turns into an all-out brawl. But the best part is the chair. The chair is the best part. So hold on. So now they're all fighting. They're all. Where's the chair at? The chair's coming. Full on fights. Women are getting punched, by the way. And here comes the chair. Boom! He's hitting him with the chair. Oh shit! In the head. He's not done. He's not done. He's coming with that chair again. Boom! This person wasn't even doing anything. World star. But of course, the fucked up part is the only person to get arrested is the black dude. So I mean, it's kind of fucked up. But he was hitting people in the head with a chair. So let's be real about this. Okay, we're gonna look at these memes. Riverfront. Oh no, you said the second one, huh? Hold on, the second one. Let me see. Oh yeah, this is the one that Sean King put up. He said the Avengers assemble. Oh yeah. You got black leaders looking kindly over this brawl. That's pretty good. Chair. So there I was, just minding my own business. Just got my open carry license and he's carrying a chair. Get out of here. Oh god. Oh yeah, these Crocs didn't hold up. Bro forgot to put them in sports mode. They did. Look at those Crocs. Damn, his toe. You got your ass beat so bad.
That's bad.
That your feet went through your Crocs.
Got folded.
This dude already has a shirt. There's already a shirt of somebody getting hit in the head with a. Oh, this is not a good. Hold on, let me fix this a little. There we go. This dude has his own shirt. Oh my God! Keep that thing out. Keep that thing out. I love meme culture, man. Post hipster runoff. Oh, it was this. Y'all referring to August 5th in Montgomery as the Alabama Sweet Tea Party. The Sweet Tea Party fade in the water. Oh shit! They got Wakanda. Oh man, they got fade in the water. Try that in a small town. Were you up on that whole Jason Aldean thing that happened?
No.
Jason Aldean is a country singer, and he made this song called "Try That in a Small Town," and people called it like super racist because he's saying because he shows a lot of imagery from like the BLM protests / riots, and he was like, you try coming in our town and you're gonna get dealt with. And I saw the point of it. I mean, I think that there was maybe aspects of it that might have been slightly racist, but I think it was totally blown out of proportion. And yeah, this is amazing. So that's what "Try This in a Small Town" is referring to, and it has a chair. Oh, look, they even got Jason Aldean. There he is. Tried that in a small town and found out. Alabama boat dock brawl turned into SummerSlam. I stand by the message. Looters won't get a fare. Go far in Marta. Yeah, and I'm behind that, right? Like, because there was a difference between the BLM protest and then people just
walking and looting.
Yeah, it's two different things. And the media was trying to make it into like, this is reparations. And it's like, no, that's stealing. And there was a bunch of like little like soy boy white kids too who were like burning shit down. So it's like, what? This makes no sense. We also
Two wrongs don't make it right.
Exactly. And I'm all for protests, like, protests, but it has to be peaceful. I don't like, you turn, oh, come on. He has a fucking do-rag. Get out of here.
Star.
Black Twitter finding out Iggy Azalea wrote Tory Lanez a support letter. I did hear that. Oh, do you know about what's going on with Tory Lanez right now? Are you familiar with Tory Lanez?
About in the whole lawsuit.
Yeah, Megan
he's in right now.
Yeah, he's getting sentenced today. So actually, we might be out now. Let's see if there's if Tory Lanez sentences. We might have some breaking news, folks. Breaking news. Tory Lanez's father pleads for mercy. I don't know if it's out yet. Hold on. Let's see. 1 hour ago. Yeah, his dad was freaking out in the courtroom. Let's go to X, formerly known as Twitter. That's so stupid. I cannot.
Still says tweet.
Yeah, it does. And it is twitter.com, by the way. It's like, shut up, Elon. Get the hell out of here.
It's more ego than logic.
Yeah, it was so dumb. Like, why? I would have swam across to back up the security guard. You know what, Naders? I wouldn't have, but you know what? Go on with your bad self. I would have been the guy who's like, I'm just going to film this because I'm on a boat. I'm not trying to do that. But I give it up to him. He's a better man than me, and so are you, Naders. Iggy Azalea wrote a support. Oh, man, people are going to not like Iggy Azalea now. Now everyone's turning on Iggy Azalea. Let's see.
She's in the news again.
She's writing a letter. Yeah, Iggy Azalea wrote a support letter for the judge to read during the sentencing. So now it looks like everybody's not happy with her. Where is I don't think the verdict is out yet. So I think we're still. Oh, you can't see anything that I'm doing. Let me.
I can see some of it.
Sorry about that. I had you locked in on the thing. So there's no verdict yet. Let's see. Let's see Tory Lanez's verdict. It's still early out there, so. Yeah, I don't see anything out. People would be like, Tory Lanez sentenced to 50 years in prison. Yeah, I mean, he did. He was convicted of
dumb
shooting
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if he shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, which I know Samo and Chet here, he is not into it. There was some weird stuff that happened in that trial, but whatever. It is what it is now. Okay, so there was the update. Let's listen to a song off of your album, shall we? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's cool.
What song should we play off the new album?
You could do. What's the last one?
Light the World on Fire.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, I'm gonna share it with you so you can jam along.
Yeah.
Hey, get in there. All right. All right, we're gonna listen to a song off of the new album, Jenna or Gen X or however you want to say it, but it's JXNNA if you're searching on YouTube, and also again if you're listening to this on the audio end, make sure y'all are going and clicking the link. There's a link directly to the entire album on YouTube, so make sure you go and support your boy. Let's listen to "Light the World on Fire" right now. Boom. Boom.
That was fun to make.
Oh shit, there it is. Dude, yeah, that song jams, man. So what was like sonically, what was your inspiration for this song? Cuz you do kind of go in different directions on this album.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like what are some of the inspirations for these songs?
So that song, I was listening to "Set the World on Fire" by man, I don't know the group. It's a really old song. I don't want to set the world on fire. So let's see if we can find it.
Is it E-Type or not? Kenny Chesney.
No, it's older than that.
Black Veil Brides. I don't know that. Don't sound right. I don't want to set the world on. The Ink Spots.
Yeah, those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so I listened to that song and I like the story behind it. And basically, it's about a guy. It's like, I don't want to like do all this. I just want you, but I will. You know, like you will give the world for you, but you would do that just because you want this one person, or whatever. I don't know, something like that. Something smart.
Something smart. Something like that. Right on. They said would have loved to hear. That was the whole song. Did I cut the song off?
Yeah, no, it's a short song.
Yeah, it's a short song.
Yeah.
Y'all are just over here shit talking me, aren't you? Yeah. Okay, I see how it is. This is what happens when you have a live chat. They'll turn on you in an instant.
The funny thing about that song is like it's the only rock song on the album.
Yeah.
But it's also like the last song I play in the album, and to me it's kind of like a closing credit song of like, you know, ending on a really high note, like literally.
Yeah, literally the falsetto goes, baby. Now, how involved were you in the production of the music?
I work with producers, so I use my own beats, but I just learned that there are people that are way better at it than me. So I just focus on the music now, music and lyrics, because when I was making the beats, one, it would take me longer because I'm not as skilled, and they're just, they're better at it. So the producers really helped me get to that next level where my music is actually, sought after now.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that completely because you're focusing on your vocals and you're focusing on your, on writing
The
lyrics.
words, yeah.
Yeah, and you want it to be the best that it can possibly be. So trying to also on top of that make the music and do all that like that is now you got the ink spots stuck in your head. I actually want to hear
Hey, it's not a bad thing.
no, it's not. I actually want to hear a little bit of. Oh, okay. I know this song.
I don't want
Very
to
famous
set
song.
the world on fire.
Oh my gosh. That is the juxtaposition between that song
Yeah.
and what you put out. I mean, I guess it would be kind of weird if you put out just like
I try to modernize
yeah,
the songs I really like. Yeah.
no, but that's a great song too, man. So that's a great inspiration. And the idea that you went from ink spots to, that your song, that's really cool. Honestly, I really dig that song. That was probably one of the more heater songs for me. That was one of the songs.
Peter,
Yeah, this is one of the more songs that I was gravitating towards. Is that last song? So it was cool that you picked that one to play on the show. Now, do you play live? Are you playing any of these songs live, or is that down the pipeline? How you look at live performance right now?
it's definitely down the pipeline. I think right now I'm currently working on another album. It's gonna be the third album this year, and to me,
Wow.
it's like a trilogy. To me, it's like all one album that I just cut up in different pieces. And this next one is going to be a mixture of some of the songs I've done before, but I'm gonna amp them up a bit, and there's gonna be some part twos, but it's gonna be crazy, and it's really gonna seal the deal for like me and the journey I had for this year, and the relationship I had with music for this year, which has been really interesting.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say.
Well, it sounds like you're sort of bottling, right? Like you're sort of, it was something that was in you, and now you're sort of exploring it and just letting it all out at once. Which, 3 albums in 1 year is this going to be your third album this year, or is there more?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a lot of content and a lot of material put out there. So hats off to that, man. That's not easy to do. I know that for a fact. So
I'm not. It is. It takes a lot out of me, honestly. Like, I feel like sometimes when I go into the studio, it really brings out my insecurities sometimes. Because sometimes in there, I was like, oh, this is not hitting, or this is not working. So to like constantly be in there, it really was hard. But
yeah. Those nice microphones can hear everything, including mistakes. So I understand. No, singing is such a vulnerable way to express yourself. Like it is you, right? It is like the shape of your face, the shape of your skull, shape of your throat. Like, so if someone doesn't like your voice, it's like they kind of don't like a part of you, right? Like they don't like you, even on a physical level. It's so vulnerable. And I started singing a few years ago, and I suck, but I've gotten way better. And I've gotten more used to singing in front of people, which is another thing. How do you feel about singing in front of other people?
I think it's the energy. I think energy is important. I've performed in front of people for like comedy and for acting. So
cool.
To me, it's just another extension of that. And I think music is so powerful that it's really easy to do, like, get energy out of it. I think that's why concerts is always so ravey. Like music is so powerful, so it kind of steals the show from you, which is great because I don't always enjoy having the spotlight on me because I am a very reserved person. I like to keep to myself, but like I feel like when I'm on stage, I make it about the art, so then I kind of get outside of myself. It's very draining on me personally, just because I don't usually go to like public events unless I have to. Just, I'm a very quiet person. I like
Yeah.
to chill most of the time. So
Yeah.
it's like, but if I have to, I'll match the energy, and which
Yeah.
is why I'll be drained after. But I definitely feel like it's one of those things that to be able to do that, for people to enjoy your music, to be able to have that gift to share with people is beautiful. So I'm grateful to do it, and I would like to actually find a way to do like a free concert for like people who can't afford to go to concerts or something. Like, because I know when I was poor, some of the best memories were being able to go to like free baseball games or like free movies, and so I think that's definitely something that I'm going to make sure that's a part of my touring.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's very commendable. Um, Now you do filmmaking and stuff and acting. Like, what's your like what kind of stuff have you done? You even say comedy. Like, have you done stand up and stuff too? Like,
Oh yeah, I did comedy. I did stand up. I'm all over the place. I try to focus on music right now because I feel like that's like the crown jewel of probably my talents.
mm,
But my other passions of making music is theater. I love theater. I love improv. I did improv in Chicago for like 2 years, along with a lot of
Second
stand
City.
up. Yeah,
You did Second City.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. How far did you get in it?
I got pretty far. I was doing, weekend shows, and I was making a
Wow.
lot of friends up there. So it was just like, that's when I kind of decided that I was going to be an artist for the rest of my life, whether or not I made money, because I was like, I enjoy it.
Hmm.
So like, when I was being told to be a lawyer, like I have like my uncles and my brothers, they're all going to be doctors or something. And it's like, I don't want to live a life for money. I want to live a life of something I'll be proud of.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like art. But at the same time, I think that improv is limited in that I wanted to find something that I could truly express myself, and I feel like music does a better job at that. But yeah, I was doing everything up there, and college classes in filmmaking, and then I started to film my own projects, short films. Casting has always been interesting, and being able to work with different actors. I think one of the most fulfilling things is making a project and being able to give people work, but also to be able to bring together talent and work with different people. And I always feel the most joy of providing that for people. I think that's like the greatest joy I ever had, is like being able to like do a project and like give people an opportunity to like create, when it's like so hard, nowadays, to like get an agent or get a job or like book something, book, like just be able to give someone a platform is like a really great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the talent that goes into putting together a solid team. I mean, that's a whole talent on its own, man. Like, that's not easy to do.
Sucks.
Um, like working with bands, because like I've put bands and stuff together over the years, and
Yeah.
it is a pain in the ass. And like me and my wife, we perform together, so we've just sort of gone acoustic and like loops and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So we're just, because we've done the band thing, and it's kind of annoying to try to like
Yeah.
manage all those people. But like when it comes to like a production, like if you're filming something and you're the director and the writer and the producer and like all the
Oh
things,
yeah.
all like what goes into a small project or an indie project is like you're
Get an
managing
aneurysm.
you're managing so much. You're managing people's egos and
Yeah.
like people not showing up and people not knowing their lines or overacting or just everything that goes with that shit. I mean, it's a wild ride. So it's commendable. Where can we find your videos and your shorts and your short films and stuff?
Some of them are on Amazon. I would say that
Wow.
definitely follow my Instagram, because I usually post my projects on there, and I
Mhm.
usually like say where they're at, because they're kind of all over the place. It's kind of, you never know where your distribution is going to be with some of these things.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would definitely say check my Instagram for specific things.
Okay.
And yeah, but yeah, I think one of the things about being the guy who's like director, producer, wearing all the different hats, the actor, it's, I always like it when I get to set and I don't have to be the producer anymore, and I could like switch to director mode. Like the producer mode to me is like the worst part of it. I can't wait until I could just hire someone to do that part. But I remember I was like calling people not showing up, dealing with like, okay, where's parking? Where's the lighting truck going to be? Like dumb stuff like that. Catering's late. The makeup is not here yet. Actors need this. It's like you're managing all these other things because when you're doing a small production, you try not to like hire as many people. And I remember when I finally said, you know what, I'm going to hire an assistant producer. It was like the best feeling of my life. I was like, you deal with it. And she was like, yeah.
Well, again, I mean, coming back to like being overloaded, you know, you were talking about producing your own music and making the music and singing and, you know, mixing, mastering, like being able to delegate is a part of being a good leader and a good artist as well, because if you're too bogged down worrying about, you know, people not showing up or the fucking catering is, you know, stuck in traffic, it's going to take away from the overall project and the vision. And so to be a good director and a good leader and you know, in any medium is like knowing when to delegate. It's those people who feel like they have to control everything, and then you know, they're wondering why everything's falling apart, and it's like, well, you're trying to control every little aspect. Yeah, you can't, and you know, and the people who can, I mean, God bless them, whatever. But it's like, whew, I don't know how you can live that life. It's like you got to be able. So you hired an assistant producer and was like, okay, you go.
Yeah, this is the way.
This is the way. Yes, indeed, man. AYR, I had such a great conversation with you. I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your art and your ideas with us. So when can we be expecting this next album then?
September 27th.
September 27th. Okay, cool. Yeah. So everybody, make sure that you're following AYR, and I dropped the Instagram in the chat again. So stay on his Instagram if you want to know what's going on. Of course, follow him on YouTube. That link is in there too. Everybody listening, make sure you're going and clicking on those links in the show notes. And you know, AYR, what is the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
The best piece of advice is fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Let's go.
I did some martial arts training. Oh, and my martial arts teacher was called Master Pain, which is a pretty cool name. Yeah. And she said, you know, you got to fake it till you make it. And I never really understood like why she said that. Yeah. But I think it's like having the mentality or the belief of yourself and manifesting it. You know, like I was saying earlier. So you know, like, even if you're not that person, even if you're not the six-pack Chad, you know, getting all the girls, like just imagine yourself as that person. Think, okay, what would he do today? You know, what would he eat? Think what the $1 million version of yourself would be spending your money on. And eventually you're going to become that person. You're going to fill those shoes. Yeah. Yeah, we got a bunch of emotes running around the street. Biggie and Tupac. That's great advice, man. Yeah, like sometimes you just sort of have to play along until it all locks in, right? Like, it's like you keep telling yourself you love yourself until it's sort of, you create those pathways in your brain and keep working towards your goals. And even if you mess up and you slip up, you're human. It's okay. Just keep telling yourself, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing it, and I'm doing it the best I can. And also, you know, to appreciate where you are every day is a gift. And, you know, just be grateful, find gratefulness some way, and it'll help you like get through the tough times. Like when it's hard and stuff, just be grateful for what you do have, even if you don't have a lot. Yeah. Great. That's perfect. Perfect ending. AYR, thank you so much again. I appreciate it. I'll be in touch with the audio release of this. And hey, you have a great day, sir. I appreciate your time. Everybody, love talking to you. Oh man, it was a blast. Everybody, put your hands together for our guest today, AYR Majesty. I'll see you later, man. Hey, thanks. All right, peace. There goes AYR, yeah. There goes AYR, yeah.
There goes air, yeah. Oh yeah. There goes air, yeah. There goes air, yeah. There goes air, yeah. Oh yeah. Mighty Mighty, thank you for that woo. And Mighty Mighty, thank you so much for those gifted subs to Firehorse and Maybeat Twist. I appreciate you. Oh, and oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you so much, Mighty Mighty. I appreciate those 500 biddies. Very appreciated. We are going to be at Willitown this Friday. Hey, maybe Twist. There you go. Biddies for the titties. Maybe Twist. Thank you for popping in and showing love for Mighty Mighty. We are going to be at Willitown. So if you guys don't know who Glowstick Willie is, you guys got to get on Glowstick